I'm Joanna Small, the Public Information Officer for the Commerce City Police Department. It's Monday, May 20th, and these are your weekend high or lowlights, depending on how you look at it. This is essentially our video blotter where we give you a rundown of the most significant incidents your CCPD patrol officers responded to over the weekend. But we always like to start off with a few fast facts. We answered 333 calls for service and made 55 traffic stops. Now, here are those highlights in chronological order. On Friday, officers responded to a truck wash on 53rd Place for reports of a crash that resulted in an assault and then the driver leaving the scene. The victim showed us video of a semi-truck backing into a concrete pole. When the victim tried to get the driver to stop, he became confrontational and physical. He then left the scene in his truck. We have all the identifying information to contact the truck and the driver, and we are in the process of doing so. He faces unsafe backing, hit and run, and disorderly conduct charges. On Friday afternoon, officers were called to Highway 85 and 72nd for a 3-vehicle crash. When we arrived, we learned the at-fault driver was in a stolen vehicle with her 2 young children, a 2- and 6-year-old. Neither child was wearing any kind of seatbelt. The suspect claimed she did not know the vehicle, which had a punched ignition, had been stolen. She's now facing a number of charges to include child abuse, second-degree motor vehicle theft, careless driving, driving without insurance, and driving with an improperly or unrestrained child. Friday night, officers were called to a gas station in the 8700 block of Brighton Road for a disturbance with weapons. When we got there, we determined that the suspect had assaulted a store clerk and felony menaced a customer using a knife. The customer told us he tried to stop the suspect after he witnessed him slap the female clerk, but the suspect produced a knife. The clerk told us the suspect struck her multiple times. He is now facing assault charges. Overnight Friday into Saturday, officers were dispatched to a 7-Eleven on 104th Avenue for a robbery. After a clerk refused to sell alcohol to a customer, the customer claimed he had a gun and demanded money. No money was taken, though, but the suspect did put his hands on a bottle of liquor, which we are able to obtain for evidence. This attempted robbery is still under investigation. You saw this next incident posted about on our social media platforms. This vehicle was likely traveling at a high rate of speed when the driver ran a red light on Highway 85 and was clipped by a vehicle with the right-of-way turning onto 56th. The at-fault driver crashed into the guardrail and both occupants were ejected. Both males were transported to the hospital where one was pronounced dead. The surviving male said the person who died was driving, but we are still working to confirm that account. On Sunday morning, officers were the first responders on scene of a motor home fire on East 50th Avenue and Locust Street. They began evacuating the surrounding residents. The owner of the motor home, which was destroyed, returned to the scene but was uncooperative with officers. He claimed the fire was arson and he knew who was responsible but would not provide any additional information. On Sunday, officers responded to an undisclosed location for domestic violence, second-degree burglary, and stalking incident. The victim told us the suspect followed her into her house without permission, damaged property, and then fled. The victim said she and her young child had moved several times to escape the suspect, who has active felony warrants for possession of a weapon by a previous offender, as well as escape. We know who he is, and we are in the process of locating him. Remember, while we are always looking, we are looking even harder right now for expired vehicle registration. We're in the middle of what we call an emphasis for this offense. We wrote dozens of tickets for expired tabs this weekend. So if you're someone who has not renewed and are just hoping not to get caught, your chances of making it through Commerce City without a citation have dropped dramatically. Our community service officers look specifically at parked vehicles, and just one officer on one day this weekend issued 42 citations. If you have a parking issue or have vehicles with expired plates parked in your neighborhood, you can always report it to us online. Just use the QR code on your screen or go to cclickfix.com/commerce-city. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. Have a safer week, Commerce City. And remember, if you need us, we are always just minutes away.